Hi everyone, Sean McDonough here. This is demo number 4, Common Problems and Watchouts with the Content Search Web Part. So as is implied by the name, the Content Search Web Part depends on search for what it does. And if something isn't visible to search or hasn't been indexed by search, it naturally can't show up in the Content Search Web Part. After all, the Content Search Web Part draws its items for display from the search index. And until the search crawler runs and hits something and actually indexes the content, it can't be made available to the Content Search Web Part. So one of the big mistakes or common hang-up points for folks who are new to the Content Search Web Part is just adding new content, for instance, to a list or library, and then becoming confused or concerned because they'll go to a Content Search Web Part which should be aggregating that data and showing it, but they don't see their new item out there. And that's most times just because search hasn't indexed the content yet. So to kind of prove this point, or to show it, I'm going to come to the simple search results page that I put together and demonstrated a little bit earlier in demo number 2. And I'm going to put in a phrase that is associated with a document I know. And that document is frodog. Don't worry, I'll show you what this is in a little bit. But if I run frodog, I get no search results over on the right. Okay, frodog here, search results, nothing. Nothing comes back. And so if I were to go and pull this document up, I happen to have it in a Word document right here. It says frodog. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead and reduce the size of the window here. I'm going to come to a test library. Let's see, test library, and drop my frodog document in. Whoops. Let's try this again. There we go. So now it's in. Now if I go back to the page that I was at, associated with the content roll-up here, or with the simple search results, let's type frodog. Still nothing. And some folks might become concerned upon initially developing and say, hey, wait a minute, I know the content's out there, why hasn't it showed up? Well, the content's not out there simply because the search crawler hasn't occurred and hasn't picked it up. So what I'm going to do, I'm in central administration right now. I'm going to come into my search service application, go to content sources, and I'm going to just go ahead and say, you know what, let's just start a full crawl. Let the search index get updated, add new content to it. We'll refresh this page and see that in fact we are running a crawl right now. So current crawl duration 6 seconds. Shouldn't take too long to do. Now while that's going, I want to go in and show you another problem source that sometimes rears its head with the Content Search Web Part. And I'm going to go into another document library I have, appropriately titled, "You'll Never See This in Search Results." So let's go ahead and select that. And in this document library, I have a number of documents tied to business continuity and disaster recovery. Business continuity and disaster recovery is another topic I have a fair bit of interest in as far as SharePoint goes. I've co-authored a couple books on disaster recovery for SharePoint. And so I've just taken some documents that I found out on TechNet and dropped them in here. So business continuity, this is something we might expect to do a search for. And we should get some results back, because after all, the documents are in here, and I can validate that they were, in fact, or there was a crawl that ran that should have picked that up if it was available. So let's come back to our simple search results page. And let's type business continuity. Nothing comes back. Or rather, the results that come back are PC gamer issues. And of course, PC Gamer issues were present in the last couple of demos that I did. But really, this is not what we would expect. This is not what we're looking for. We want those documents that we were interested in over in the library that I just showed before. So let's go in and see what might be the problem here. Now, first place we're going to stop is in the library settings. And I'm going to come into advanced settings. And what I want to point out is it's possible that somebody who has control over a library might choose not to allow items from that library to appear in search. In this case, it's set to yes, so this isn't what's blocking us from seeing those business continuity documents. If it were set to no, then any results that might be shown from that library get removed from the index, and the content search web part won't ever surface results. So if someone sets this to no, without necessarily understanding the implications to the content search web part, that content will not be there. Another problem, we'll go back to document library. The bigger problem, or I'll say the bigger problem, because by default, document libraries are going to be included in search results, and so the content search web part will show them. But a common problem I find, particularly when a list or library has major minor versioning, is documents sit out there in a form that the indexer can't do anything with. This particular view of the document library doesn't show what I want to show, so let me go to all docs with versions. And this is where we figure out what the real problem is. The reason these documents are not showing up in the content search web part results is because they are not sitting in a major version. If a document or item is not in a major version and you have permissions configured properly for your SharePoint farm crawl account, and it should just be a standard user account, those documents, as they sit in a minor version, will not be picked up by search, and so if it's not picked up by search, it won't show up in the search index until a version is actually made, is published to unless a document is published to a major version and there's a major version to index, content search web part can't show it. And so for folks who leave documents out there in a 0. whatever version forever, until that actually gets published or made or promoted to a major version, you're not going to see it. And so if we were to promote one of these, we would see it, if we were to promote business continuity management for SharePoint, Microsoft SharePoint Foundation 2010 to version 1.0, and the crawl were to run again, then it would show up in the results. So this is one of those big watch-outs. If you only ever have documents in a minor version, you might run into problems with surfacing those documents in a content search web part. So our search crawl probably is run by now. Let's come back and see if Frodog got picked up. Frodog. Ta-da! There it is. Yo, Frodog, what's up? And so we could go ahead and open that up straight from the results. And there's our Frodog. Yo, Frodog, what's up? So if you add content to a document library or a list and it doesn't show up right away, give search a chance to run. Make sure you've got a major version published. If you're in SharePoint Online, you are at the whim of the stamp that you're running within, and when that crawler runs, that's when you will show up in results. That can vary in terms of how long it takes. So when you're in SharePoint Online, just be aware you don't have direct control like I did, like I demonstrated going to central administration and kicking off a crawl. You can't do that in SharePoint Online. So be patient, wait for that content to be indexed, make sure it's in a major version, and you should be good to go. So that concludes demo number 4, common problems and watch-outs with the content search web part. And I hope to see you for the next series, next demo in the series, which is working with the content search web part query builder. Thanks.